Good morning, Unity. Stand if you are able, and also hello to those online today. I'm going to be singing the first two lines, and then I want you to join on in. I always know you're there. I always know. Join in, please. I always know you're there. I always know. Harmonies? I always know you're there. I always know. I always know. I always know you're there. I always know. Second part, ready? Guide me, God, and I will find you. Guide me, God, and I will find you. Guide me, God, and I will find you. Guide me, God, yes. Guide me, God, and I will find you. Guide me, God, and I will find you. Guide me, God, and I will find you. Guide me, God. I always know. Here we go. I always know
breathing into the gift of this morning, into our life, into our very being. Join me in our opening statement together. There is but one presence and one power in my life and in the universe, God the good, omnipotence.
We chose this song today because we're talking about mysticism. This song is by Sinead O'Connor. If you're old enough, you know who that is, but she was a big old mystic. So this song also comes in two parts, and you can sing them together. We're going to start with I Always Know, and then some of us will go on to Guide Me God. Some of you hang out with I Always Know. And then if you're a danger dude, you can swap parts, or try to swap parts. I tried earlier today, and then we all just ended up falling in onto the easy one. But let's start with I Always Know. And if you do remember Sinead O'Connor, yeah. Nice. Get your mystic on. 1, 2, 3, 4. I always know you're there. I always know. I always know. I always know you're there. I always know. Some of us are moving on. Guide me, God, and I will find you. Guide me, God, and I will find you. Guide me, God, and I will find you. Guide me, God, guide me, God. Guide me, God, and I will find you. Guide me, God, and I will find you. Guide me, God, and I will find you. Guide me, God. If you want to switch, try it. Guide me, God, and I will find you. Guide me, God, and I will find you. Guide me, God, and I will find you. Guide me, God, guide me, God, yeah. Guide me, God, and I will find you. Guide me, God, and I will find you. Guide me, God, and I will find you. Guide me, God. Thank you. Good morning. Please be seated.
Good morning. Happy Palm Sunday, happy spring. Check out the leaves. All the life. Woohoo, woohoo. So welcome to Seattle Unity, both in-house and at home. If you're watching from home, it's always fun if you type in where you're watching from, and of course, any prayers that you have. For those of us in the room, if you have prayers, there's a prayer box out in the lobby. Please fill those out. The prayer team will bless you through the week. And so let's turn to our mission statement together. We are a welcoming spiritual community, thriving in the heart of Seattle, celebrating, inspiring, and deepening our individual and collective spiritual journeys. Can I get an amen? All right. So a couple of announcements. One is today there is a God Box workshop led by Mitch Hunter, and so that'll be on the third floor, probably around 11:30. So if you wondered what a God Box is or you want to make one, head up to the third floor also for coffee, tea, and snacks following the service. The Sunday after Easter, next Sunday's Easter, by the way, so I think we're going for a retro theme this year, so find your retro clothes. Reverend Diane Robertson will be teaching a class on mysticism on Sunday afternoons. So you have to register for that at Seattle Unity. And I'm going to be leading an astrology astrodrama. And you may wonder, what is that? Well, it's a Saturday workshop. It's based on the date and year that you were born. So you'll discover what it means. I have a sun in Aries and a moon in Pisces. What is that? I have a Venus in Virgo and a Mars in Leo. What is that? So we're going to look at karmic influences that point to your purpose, and you'll get to connect with people with similar traits, and it's fun. So it's not just an intellectual thing. We're going to be playing with it and playing with the archetypes. So you need to pre-register for that. That is April 13th. It's from 10 to 3. Also, is there anybody visiting us for the very first time? Please raise your hand so we can welcome you. Anybody from out of town? And keep your hand up if you're from out of town. Anybody? All right, you're all local. We're so grateful that you're here. So we just finished a class called Foundations, and it was an experiment. So we did Wednesday afternoons in person, and then Wednesday night on Zoom. So I would like to call the Foundations class up here to acknowledge both whether you were on Zoom or in person, and just kind of stand and face the community. Just come on all the way up. So we've been working on manifesting our dreams and working with the laws of unity principles and manifestation, as well as ritual, prayer, and meditation. And part 2 then begins like April 21st. So you can join. The second part is called development. So I would like for us to bless this wonderful, amazing group of people with our prayer, which is, we love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the Christ light in you. So let's say that together. We love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the Christ light in you. And we're so grateful for all of you putting unity principles into practice and applying them in your life, because what you have done is you have become an example to all of us and a shining light. So give them a round of applause. And that said, let's all greet one another.
Stay standing as you are able. Jump in when you know it. Die, 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 die. Die, 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 die. Die, 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 die. It's a lot of lyrics. Hopefully you can feel your breath moving in your body. Because church is a place for rest, but not sleep, really. And in every unity service, we do make time for a meditation together. So this makes sure that we are fully awake by the time we get into that meditative space, and we're sharing that silence as an active listening. And we can receive on all the wavelengths. We're coming into that more contemplative part of our service, so I encourage you to become comfortable in your chairs. Our silence together will be 3 to 4 minutes. We'll have a chant going in, but our first step into this quieter space comes from newly minted board member Colleen Hart.
Good morning. This is a reading from the Daily Word, March 21, 2024. Radiance. Divine light shines in and through me. The Christ presence within me is the essence of my being, my inner light. As I live more and more confidently from this center, I become more adept at using my spiritual gifts of divine guidance, wisdom, and strength to direct my life. My radiant light shines in and through me, blessing me. As I grow in trust of my divinity, I more easily find it in all others. Beholding another's Christ light is a powerful reminder to me that God within them is their help in every need. This relieves me of the temptation to think I know what's best for them or to limit my vision of them. I see their radiance and lovingly entrust them to the divine within. I am grateful for the light in me and in all people. Divine light shines in and through me.
If your phone does need a turn off, now's the time to do it. The chant that we'll use together, and as always, you're welcome to sing with us, but you can also not sing if singing makes you feel weird. We are weird. But unity is you can take it or leave it. It's okay. The lyric to this is based on a story about Rabia of Basra, who was a very early Sufi mystic. And the story is that she was in contemplation, and her vision was a lantern suspended in the air before her. And she was so deeply in contemplation, she stayed in that devotional state all through the entire night and then the whole next day. And she was an enslaved person at the time, but her enslaver was so impressed by the depth of that devotion that she was freed. This is a story, that she was freed and eventually founded her own mystic order. We don't know if these stories were literally true, but that was the basis for this lyric. And I will sing your praise every night and day, every night and day, never ending. And I will sing your praise every night and day, every night and day, never ending. And I will sing your praise every night and day, every night and day, never ending. your light, and I will see your light every night and day, every night and day, never ending. I'll see your light, and I will see your light every night and day, every night and day, never ending. And feel your love between me and my God, no separation, no distance at all. God is right here in my heart. God is right here in my heart. God is right here in my heart. I'm raising the veil between me and my God. No separation, no distance at all. God is right here in my heart. God is right here in my heart. God is right here in my heart. I'm raising the veil. God is right here. God is right here in my heart. God is right here in my heart. God is right here in my heart. I'm raising the veil. I want to know you. Oh God, I'm raising the veil. I want to see you. Oh God, I'm raising the veil. I want to hear you. Oh God, I'm raising the veil. I want to feel you. Oh God, I'm raising the veil and praise. I want to praise you. Oh God, I'm raising the veil and I want to love you. Oh God, I'm raising the veil between me and my God. No separation, no distance at all. God is right here in my heart. God is right here in my heart. God is right here in my heart. I'm raising the veil. God is right here. God is right here in my heart. God is right here in my heart. God is right here in my heart. I'm raising the veil. God is right here. God is right here. God is right here. God is right here in my heart. God is right here. God is right here in my heart. I'm raising the veil. I'm raising the veil. God is right here in my heart. God is right here in my heart. God is right here in my heart. I'm raising the veil. I'm raising the veil. I'm raising the veil. Raising the veil. I'm raising the veil. Raising the veil. I'm raising the veil. Sonia Vargas.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining us from, whatever time. So, you know, it's tough. You have a song like that and it just opened your heart, and then you have to get up here and like be coherent. Thank you for that. So, happy Palm Sunday. We are in our annual theme of generations, looking at the wisdom of our ancestors and what they can teach us. Also looking at the shadow and what hopefully we don't repeat. looking at both of those. And this past month, we've been delving into the mystics and mysticism. And the next month, we're going to be moving into the pioneering spirit. And so today, we're actually bridging that. We're going to be looking at pioneering mystics. So it's a deep, rich topic. As Karen said, I'm going to be leading a class on it. This material is wonderful. We're just barely touching the edge of it. So I hope you will join me starting in April. And I want to just give you a little peek behind the veil of my process of when I get ready to do a talk. And the reason is because I hold all of you in it as well. And so usually when I'm sitting down and starting to think about the talk, I start with meditation and prayer, being good Unity students that we are. And so my prayer often is something like, I open my eyes to see what I have not seen before. My ears are open to understand things in a new way. And I am open to the transforming power of divine wisdom and inspiration. And then I open to that, and that is what leads me, and I hold all of you in that, and I hold that intention always for all of us, that we can open our eyes to see what we have not seen before, open our ears to hear and understand in ways that maybe we haven't before, and to be open to the transforming power of spirit in all of its mysterious ways. And so we're going to talk about Palm Sunday, and I have to do a little bit of kind of sidestep and preface, because I think Unity and New Thought is this interesting juncture. And I was raised in Unity. It was a blessing to me, and I've always seen this, is within Unity, we get people that were raised in a Christian tradition, and maybe it no longer spoke to them, or they were traumatized by it. As all faith traditions, Christianity has its shadows, long shadows, as does every single major world religion. And then we also get people within Unity that have never attended church and have no Christian background. They are open to spirit. And so I always find it this fascinating meeting point. And so I have to use a disclaimer that I often use in my invitation is that if you're allergic to Christianity, if you've had some trauma in the past, if you have some negative history, stay with me. Keep your eyes open, your ears open, because there's still gifts for us to hear and find within this tradition as well. And I think it's important for us to always ask the question, do we open to and continue to embrace and restructure and make better the human systems that we have, religions included in that, and reclaim them to find the wisdom and the gifts that they each offer? Or do we abandon them to the shadows and lose the gifts that each one has to offer? And so one of our first pioneering mystics we're going to talk about, guess who? It's Palm Sunday. Just a clue. Jesus, maybe. Yes. If you were totally allergic to Christianity, why would you be here on Palm Sunday? So we enter into this story, Jesus' story. It's at the pinnacle of his life and his ministry. It's the time of Passover, and so people are gathering at Jerusalem for the festival, the Passover festival. And the word's been spreading about this guy who's been teaching and performing miracles and healing. And so Jesus isn't a secret. And it's interesting because he was informed by tradition, and he would reference the prophets and the old teachings, but he wasn't bound by tradition. For example, he would heal on the Sabbath, which was a no-no. You weren't supposed to do that, according to tradition and Jewish law. But he let love and compassion lead ahead of rules and law. And for that, he was radical. He was a pioneer for his time. His was also one of the first inclusive ministries. He taught and included women and the poor and those that were outcasts in society. It was an early inclusive ministry, not perfect, not completely inclusive. No, we're still working on that a few centuries later. And so we enter the story, and in John 12:12, we hear the next day the great crowd had come to the festival, the Passover, and heard that Jesus was coming to Jerusalem. So there was a buzz. And so they took branches of palm trees and went out to meet him, shouting, "Hosanna, blessed is the one who comes in the name of the Lord, the King of Israel." Jesus found a young donkey, sat on it, as it is written, "Do not be afraid, daughter of Zion. Look, your king is coming, sitting on a donkey's colt." Well, what's that about? And so Jesus was referencing back to ancient scriptures, Zechariah 9:9, that talks about the coming king who will come on a humble donkey. And so he was intentional in this, and you have to wonder, well, why is that? Because at this point, he's got to know he's kind of pissed off the Pharisees, and he's made them a little nervous. They see this guy that's become very popular, and he's drawing crowds, and there's this triumphant entry. Yet he doesn't go into Jerusalem secretly. He stands in his truth, and maybe he didn't come to be a political leader, but he still was coming to spread something that was radical and new for those times. And so we have to imagine that this wasn't an easy kind of road in front of him. And for now, I'm going to ask you to forget the ending. We're just looking at this scene. No spoilers. So we talk about in Unity that we often interpret the Bible metaphysically, which we do, which basically means we take those characters in the story and then we ask the question, what do they represent in my own consciousness? But the truth is, we also look at the Bible historically and in many other ways. And so I want to just take this one little scene and just look at it in a few different ways through a few different lenses to see what it has to teach us, what it has to tell us. And so we already have this historical basis. We have this guy, Jesus, that's come into town, and there's great excitement. The crowds are thrilled. But he's also kind of a rabble-rouser. He's kind of mixes things up, shakes things up. He doesn't follow the rules. He kind of breaks the rules a lot of times. So we have this historical context. And then I do want to look at it metaphysically. And so if we take this story, and Jesus is that I am presence. It is that divine essence that is the truth of every single one of us. We all have that I am presence, that Christ consciousness, that divine essence within us. And the donkey, it's often described as meek. However, when I was sitting with this in this particular story, for me, the donkey represented strength and perseverance. If you think about the donkey that goes up trails with huge loads, that was the image that was coming to me. And the palms that are spread along the road, for me, that represents flexibility. Being able to wave in these incredible winds. You've seen in the hurricanes where these incredible winds will blow the palm tree, and somehow they remain standing afterwards. The crowds are our thoughts, those busy thoughts that we all can have, the doubts, the fears, the critics. Hopefully we get some happy ones in there too. The road before us, for me in this story, represents our intention, this intention that we hold. And so if we put these together, looking at it metaphysically, it's us, it's me standing in my I am presence on my intention of where I want to go, despite the thoughts, the doubting crowds of thoughts, remaining flexible to how it will unfold because we don't always know the details, and having that divine strength and perseverance to see it through. which we all have access to. And I know if you think in your life, you can all come up with times where you've been faced with something, and it may have been of your own choosing, or it may have just been something that life presented to you. And we have to dig deep to some internal resource to continue on that particular road and path. We have to tap into something that is kind of beyond kind of normal strength. So when I was thinking of this, kind of looking at it, we also can look at it myotically, which is really just, how is this story my story? So we place ourselves kind of in Jesus's position. And we say, you know, if I had this strong conviction, and we know he did, so there was something compelling him to enter into Jerusalem in this way, this triumphant way, even though he knew he was probably putting himself in danger. But there was some inner core and conviction that was so strong, it was compelling and pulling him forward. But again, if we put ourselves in his position, we have to think, well, there's probably some human aspect that was fearful and uncertain. Maybe doubting, maybe frustrated, disheartened that his disciples still didn't get it and weren't there with him to stand next to him when he was in trouble. So I'm sure there were all of these feelings as well, we can imagine, right? If we're looking at it as, how is this story my story? And so when I was thinking of this, I was reflecting at different times in my life and looking at those times where I had a certain path before me, but I had to dig deep into something to persevere. And so when I was getting ready to go into the Peace Corps, I had finished my undergraduate degree in engineering at Texas A&M. I always say that Texas was my first cross-cultural experience, coming from the San Francisco Bay Area before I went overseas. And I love my Texas friends, and I love Texas, the hospitality and the warmth, the openness, you know, just so many gifts. And it was still my first cross-cultural experience. So I had determined that that was the path I was going to go down, as I was going to enter into the Peace Corps, and there were all of the goals of the Peace Corps, which I embraced fully. So it's at its heart, it is about helping other people in other countries get to know people in the U.S. better, and helping us have a better understanding and appreciation of people's lives in other countries. And so I was going to this small country called Swaziland, which I had never heard of before until I got my assignment, and I actually had to read about it and look it up. It's about the size of New Jersey. So that gives you an idea. You can make it from top to bottom, one side to the other in a day. And so I knew absolutely, and I had actually a spiritual purpose for going as well. There was the wanting to travel and experience things international, but being a good Unity Truth student, I always wanted to fall back to the fifth principle, is how do I live this? How do I make it real? How do I stretch myself and live this daily, these truths, these teachings? And so I had grown up in a very close-knit family in the same home. It was always a gift to me. I always felt like they had my back. It was this amazing safety net. And I knew that not everybody had that, and so I didn't take it for granted. This incredible love and support that my immediate family provided to me, my parents and my sister. And so I wanted to move even further. Texas was one step, but I wanted to move even further geographically. There was some idea in that, so that I could deepen my relationship with God and my spiritual practices. So there was this underlying spiritual purpose in my entering into the Peace Corps and going. And so I was in 110%. I was going, I was determined, and I was kind of nervous. At times, a lot of nervous. Because I was going to a place I'd never been. I didn't know anybody. I had no idea how things would unfold. It was all a big mystery. Yet there was some inner compelling conviction, some knowingness that I was going to continue on this path no matter what. And I did, and it was amazing. It was sort of like a lifetime within a lifetime. It's hard to even sum it up, those kinds of experiences. And so I want to touch on this idea of the mystical Christ. And I had touched on it last week a little bit. And so in our 4 Gospels, the book of John is kind of usually determined one of the most mystical. And I know I go back to that gospel quite often because it has this resonance. And some of the clues are it's got poetic language. And so whenever we start hearing the poet, we know that we might be getting close to the mystics because, as you might guess, they're talking about things which don't have a language. They're trying to describe the undescribable. That's why creatives, musicians, and artists and poets usually come the closest because they're trying to describe the undescribable. And so the author of the Gospel of John has this poetic language. There's this oneness thread that continues all the way through it. And we do find it in the other Gospels, but it's so strong in this book. And there's this incredible kind of recurring theme about the light. The light, the light. The light that lives inside of every one of us. Just as Colleen was sharing in the reading, it is that radiance which is the greatest gift, truly, that we can give and share out into the world. In John 1:5 and 1:9, it says, "And the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness never overcame it. This was the true light which enlightens everyone coming into the world." This is the true light and our true nature. It's the true nature of everyone we see, even those we don't agree with. So even if it's clouded or shadowed over, it's still there. It's that light. And so part of our spiritual practice is to call that light out more fully within ourselves and to see it and recognize it in everyone that we meet and come across. So there's a long mystic tradition and pioneering mystics throughout the centuries. We're going to jump over a few centuries because we only have so much time. But I just want to touch on unity. And Thomas Shepard, he was is a unity author and teacher and minister. And he wrote a book called Friends in High Places, and Reverend Karen has referred to it before. And in that, in the opening, in the preface, he talks about how in unity we often describe ourselves as either practical Christians or metaphysical Christians. But I think the term that is most kind of resonant for him, and I find as well, is mystical. And I think that's also why unity is such this beautiful bridge between those that have Christian roots and those that have no religious background whatsoever. Because by definition, the mystic kind of goes outside the box and breaks outside of any particular tradition. The mystics have their roots in particular traditions, not all of them, but many. We find the mystics in every single religious tradition, yet somehow they also break beyond those bounds into something that's outside of the box, outside of that structure. And so to me, unity is that mystical place, that bridging place that kind of is open to all and kind of open to the different paths wherever you might be coming from, wherever you are in this particular moment. So Myrtle Fillmore, one of the co-founders of Unity, along with her husband Charles, she was a pioneering mystic. And so, of course, she studied and her foundation was built upon earlier mystics, earlier pioneers and teachers. She and Charles studied deeply, and they listened to lectures, and they studied from all different traditions. And yet, ultimately, a pioneering mystic has to find their own path. They have to go within and integrate the truth with a capital T in a way that is unique to them. So we learn from those that have come before, the generations and our ancestors, and then ultimately, the only way to truly live it and be it in the world fully is to integrate that within ourselves in a way that's unique to our own journey. And so I just want to share what Myrtle had wrote about how she saw Jesus and the value in studying Jesus' life. She said, Jesus is an individual who made the complete union of mind, soul, and body in spirit. He brought forth into expression the Christ, the God mind within the consciously identified himself with the Father. God is not a person, God is spirit. And Charles Fillmore would say, I'm going direct to headquarters. That was his own way of finding a relationship that was unique and personal. And that is the highest aspiration of all mystics, whatever their tradition or path may be. And so, in closing, I just want to kind of lead all of us through just a short prayer. It's a type of centering prayer. It's using the I am, so it's claiming those divine qualities that we all have within us. And so I'm going to invite us to just silently repeat to ourselves this affirmation, this truth, I am light. And so if you're comfortable just closing your eyes, and you might want to just repeat it and find a flow that aligns with your breath. Just silently for a few moments, repeating to yourself, I am light. And if your thoughts wander, just bringing them back to this centering truth, I am light. Now gently shifting, silently repeating to yourself, I am love. I am love. And gently coming back to the room. And so we spent just a few moments here, and it's something that you can work with and practice at home. Usually we spend a lot more time with that. But just what are those truths about yourself that's about all of us? And just meditating on that, focusing on that. And so may we all go forth and be that light, that love that we are in expression in the world throughout our day in all of our relationships. Bless you. So as our community guides are coming forward, we come to that time now to give of our gifts and our love offerings. So if you've been fed by the music and the message and the programming here, we invite you to give generously from that place. If you're giving online, you can give by text, 206-350-8448, or via the website. And of course, here in the room, we do accept checks and cash. If you give electronically, there's some cards in the back of the chairs. We just invite you to hold that as we join together in blessing our offering. Together, I give willingly, joyfully, and lovingly, knowing that God is the constant source of my supply. I give with graciousness and receive with gratitude.
This is another tune by Ricky Byers, who's one of the leading New Thought songwriters. You have, if you've been in a New Thought church, you've probably sung one of her tunes before. There's a lot of repeat lyrics, so if you want to join in, go ahead. In the land of I am more than I have been. I am more than I will be. I am all that I am. In the land of I am more than I have been. I am more than I will be. I am all that I am. In the land of I am more than I have been. I am more than I will be. I am all that I am. In the land of I am more than I have been. I am more than I will be. I am all that I am. And the songs of all the great-grandmothers and the dreams of all my great-grandfathers, the way to rise above the pain, all live in me. In the land of I am more than I have been. I am more than I will be. I am all that I am. In the land of I am more than I have been. I am more than I will be. I am all that I am. Yes, in the land of I am more than I have been. I am more than I will be. I am all that I am. Yeah, in the land of I am more than I have been. I am more than I will be. I am all that I am. And the smiles, oh, the unborn children, and the dreams of a better day to come, and the dance of heaven and earth, all live, oh, live, oh, live in me. The land of I am more than I have been. I am more than I will be. I am all that I am. Yes, in the land of I am more than I have been. I am more than I will be. I am all that I am. Yes, in the land of I am more than I have been. I am more than I will be. I am all that I am. Yes, in the land of I am more than I have been. I am more than I will be. I am all that I am. Have you been robbed and disgraced, abused and displaced? Have you been robbed and disgraced, abused and displaced? Have you been lied to, but lies can be seen in the land? You can't fall from grace in the land. You cannot be hurt in the land. There's more than enough in the land. You're always at home in the land. Always at home in the land of I am more than I have been. I am more than I will be. I am all that I am. Yeah, in the land of I am more than I have been. I am more than I will be. I am all that I am. Yeah, yeah, in the land of I am more than I have been. I am more than I will be. I am all that I am. Yes, in the land of I am more than I have been. I am more than I will be. I am all that I am. Nice. Thank you.
So will our ushers come forward? I mean, not our ushers, our chaplains, to stand with me as we pray, as we share our prayers with our community. So we put a final blessing on our offering as we dedicate and consecrate these gifts to the will, the work, and the way of the living Spirit of truth. And our prayer is that your gift returns to you 1,000,000-fold as you have created that space. Amen. So I just want to let you know, those of you watching online, there's an online discussion today led by Louise Carnahan, who's over in Oregon. So stay on, you'll see the link. And also, since next Sunday's Easter, if you'd like to bring a dish to share, that would be great for our fellowship time. All right, so I invite you to turn your attention within as we move to that place of centering, to the place of I am. And we begin our prayers by blessing those who have made their transitions in the last week or so. And so we want to hold in prayer Janet Hollister, Terry Lamb, Antonio. And so we know that life never ends but merely transmutes. And so we are grateful for the life that you have lived, the love that you've given. And we send you into this light with our prayers. And we hold for Carrie, who is also about to make his transition. And for comfort, we hold in our prayers Holly and Frank, Cole, who's also made his transition, Bill and family. We hold in our prayers Sabrina, Jan and Kathy, Vanessa, Kelly, Steve, Shirley, Render, and Rich for healing. I invite you to take a breath as we recenter. And we send this light to Ray and his family as they travel, to Kathleen as she travels, to Drew, to Francis for peace, and Marcia and Carl, seeing that spirit going before them as they also travel. We take another breath, focus, send the light to Reggie and Allie for guidance, and Randy, Betsy, Marty, Cody, Mel, and April, taking another breath. We send healing light to Diane, Carmen, Inez, and Scarlett, as well as Tom, Gaza, the Ukraine, Israel, and Russia, and anyone or any place else. Please speak the names now. Jason and Nancy and Robbie. And so we know that the intention with which we have spoken each name is with love. And we see these prayers being received with the love with which they've been given. And so we affirm then our prayer for protection together. The light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. The presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever we are, God is,
and all is well.
and that's the truth.
Let's stand as you are able and sing a closing song together. I like to hold hands. If you'd like to do that too, you absolutely may. It's okay to say no if you don't feel like it, though. Again, it's unity. This is a song called Long Time Sun, which is, if you've taken a lot of yoga classes, you've probably heard this in some form or another. It's a lot of lyrics, so if you don't already know this song, don't worry about it. Just sway back and forth and smile. We will not give you any crap. All right. Let's try this. May the long time sun shine upon you. All love surround. All love surround you. And may the pure light. May the pure light within you guide your way on.